So let's talk about what it is that we do in this moment that affects our near moments, our current now, and our distant future. And so I have an innate ability to really tune in. And what I say now has a ripple effect. So I'm much more conscientious about what I say, what I do, how I respond, if there's a reactionary thing, whatever it may be. I take a pause. And that's something that's just innate in me. Whenever I've been baited and I have fell for the egoic bait and I may act out of character, I don't like that because that's not who I am. And I allowed myself to get drawn into something that eventually not only harms me, but harms others, right? So the older I get and the more in tune I get with energy and the more I live by that barometer and transmitter of energy, the more I am steadfast in my stop, drop, sit, connect with my breath, my thought, my awareness, and understanding that the energies of how I'm using my tone, my physical animations, because I'm very animated, my expressions, etc. I try to take stock of them. So with that being said, what brings up this topic today? The topic today is, I have been hired out many times as a consultant to help medical practices grow their aesthetics or their wellness department. And it's easy for me to do because I kind of know what works and what doesn't work from being on both sides of the fence as a patient client and as a practitioner. So everything that's said, everything that meets and greets from the moment that patient client comes in till they leave, making sure that the energies and the borders and the protections are all there, the courtesy and the respect is there, but you don't get sucked up in that ass kissing customers always right philosophy. So you have some kind of boundary that you're very sure-footed about your job. And so that you're able to say, I wouldn't suggest that. Or I would go with this protocol. Or whatever it may be. So anyway, I got a consulting position. Went in, I consulted husband and wife team. Wife is the practitioner, first time on her own. She's worked in other practices. She has a good idea how they work. So it sort of seems like it would be a natural. Husband, a little egoic, sensory there, but he wants to be in charge of handling things. But I don't really know what his position is going to be. If it's full-time, if it's part-time, if it's just helping her out to get started. Either way, we get started with it. And as we get started with it, it's very clear off the bat. After the first initial consultations, they didn't really give a shit what I had to say. And so no matter what I tried to implement and suggest, there was this constant barrage of narcissistic, you didn't do enough, Sandy. So I was aware of it energetically. And I used to just, tighten the strings on my energetics. And sometimes so tight that I felt like I was strangling myself. And Spirit told me one day on the way to work, if you're feeling really suffocated, it isn't the place for you to bang your head because you're not going to make a difference. And this is one of those lessons where you're going to self-sacrifice the integrity of your soul. But I kept trying because I'm such a great person. Yeah, that's right. I want to do good. I want to help. I want to break through it. I've seen barriers, but this one was a big barrier. So anywho, as I'm into this more, then I'm seeing that the practitioner is succumbing to whatever it is that the husband has to say or leaves the room. So she takes no power of correcting anything. None of it. And then I just started seeing things getting played off of each other. And I could see that there was going to be a big burnout amongst everybody if I didn't assess the situation better. So at the end of the day, I finally decided this wasn't going to be for me. And I left the ball in their court. I went in a week later to pick up last paycheck, and I got sucked into the same, you didn't do enough, and I'm staying quiet, smile on my face, energy all tightened up without strangulating myself. I still could connect with that whole trachea, open airways. I knew that it wasn't me, etc. And I left it, even through the tightness of it all, with a hug, wishing you the best of luck. If you choose to discuss, please let me know. So I took the high road. So now fast forward a few weeks, when I'm in the middle of, in between this consulting jobs that I do, and nothing's appearing at the table, I'm now questioning myself did I do the right thing? I'm missing that paycheck. I'm second guessing myself. And Spirit's like, oh, hell to the no. You absolutely did not. And so today, Spirit started showing me the example of this particular couple. Regardless of what I see about her, that she was raised by a dominant parent, and the baby of 5 or 6, felt like she didn't have any choices. That it's not my issue. I can't get into the psychological childhood trauma in these particular cases. I can if it's a one-on-one client and they're coming to me for regression, hypnosis, coaching, etc. But I can't get into that when I'm in this. So I had to really stay out of my lanes. Certain lanes had to be closed when it came to this type of position. So what I saw was this particular situation was an opportunity for them to step up. It was an opportunity for her to step into her power. It was an opportunity for him to lean on somebody who was fully experienced, but he had such an ego that he wanted operations manager when he had absolutely no idea what happens from the moment that front door opens to the moment a patient leaves, and then what happens in the interims, and then afterwards, and all the follow-up and the details and so on and so forth. He doesn't even get it. Everything was about running things so fast that the money was coming in the door. That's all that he was bean counting. So anywho, Spirit showed me today that people in this person's past have allowed him to siphon their energy. They've allowed him to abusively take a hold of them, and him going deeper into what you want to call deep left brain narcissistic, little to no compassion, all about the dollar sign and making it your fault narcissist, if you see what I'm saying there. I can double talk the shit right out of you. And let me tell you, I have dealt with a lot of people in my lifetime, but this one, whoo, I didn't dare put the blood pressure cuff on because it would have probably blown the mercury right off the cuff right off my arm a few times, because he was just there. But I kept thinking, I can soften this nut. Anyway, so Spirit's showing me that in the past, other people allowed it. So when I saw reps come into the office to talk about machinery or medications or product that they had to sell to a new client, that's their job, that's what they do, I watched him twist and turn them till I didn't dare put a blood pressure cuff on them either. They would look completely different from the moment they walked in, all optimistic and hopeful, and sit down, and the conversations would go so wacky that honestly, you just don't even know how the conversation started and how it ended, but you know it just ended. And so really what happens is you lost complete control. And that gives the narcissist a lot of power. They like that. They like that. So since I've been gone, I've actually talked to a couple of these reps. And I've been like, well, let me ask you something. When I referred you there for them to purchase this piece of equipment, and they did, and you negotiated without me being present, because that's okay, that's what you do. But you allowed him to cancel the order 3 times, and every time you did, you gave him a packet of something. To the point now where you're mad at yourself because you made no commission because you were desperate for the sale. That's just one rep of many that did the exact same thing, that would sit in the chair and want their deal to work so desperately. Well, let me get you a plane ticket. Let me offer you a hotel room. Let me get my boss on the phone and let's see if we can do this. So basically they're spewing giving away. And that's a weakness that a narcissist sucks up as louche and of power. They prey on that vulnerability of wearing you down so they get what they want. And they don't really care what they wanted. It's that power trip that they get. So each of these people in my current affair made it more difficult even for me to continue from there, because nobody stood up and said, no, that's not how it works, except for me. And so he's thinking, well, hey, I was able to beat everybody else into submission. Why can't I beat you? And it was pissing him off. And he had to be very careful a few times going around with me, because there was a couple times I did sort of lose my temper. And that is, no, it doesn't work like that. And no, that's not how this operates. So I felt myself getting into that tempo, because it's kind of hard to really drag that out of me, because I don't really let other people have that. The only time I've ever really seen myself do it is when I've been really pushed to getting angry in personal relationships, or if I'm there to save a life. And then I am blinders on, everybody back up, and voice comes up. So anyway, I realized that the pattern was all the way up to the moment where I had to say, am I going to be in this crazy wheel spinning with everybody else that's been spinning, and he's spinning the wheel and she's not taking any initiative? She tried a few times, but she's married to the guy. Now she's in business with the guy. So I had to make a decision that my integrity and my soul were not going to be clipped. They were not going to be trimmed. They were not going to be filed down. They were not going to be poked at. They were not going to be told which parts were good, which parts were not. And I had to bow away. And I haven't received a phone call back, and that's okay. That's okay. Because I know me well enough that I'm either going to have to ask Spirit in the moment, yay or nay, and the answer at this point is nay. We cannot make a difference. That they're going to have to learn their visceral lessons through their own bottom line and through the health of the practitioner, his wife, and him, and of the staff. Because there was heated things going on even behind the scenes that I would never tolerate if I was running a practice. But it wasn't my place, so I sort of had to block. And occasionally I just had to put the duct tape on, and when I took it off, I was gasping for air when I got outside the building. That's not healthy. So what's my point? Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever deal you're making, whatever negotiations that you're doing, whether it's with children, relationships, however you're trying to find the demographics and the diplomacy and the postage stamp and the format and the platform of which you want to base a relationship on of any kind, you've got to remember to stay in your own lane and your own boundaries. And know what it is that you're willing to give up. And know that whatever that is, the person that comes behind you or around you or later in the distant future has to deal with that. Because energy is always in motion. I knew that what was going on in there was bigger than me. And I knew that it was bigger than me, and there was no way I could tame it. I wasn't a circus master. I was not animal control. I was a circus master to have people do tricks for me. And I wasn't going to be the healer that came in there to be the end-all be-all either. Because the respect level wasn't about mine. It was about what they respect in others. And that's still a myth to me. I'm still very miffed by that. So, from this moment forward, I really want you to bring your boundaries in. Connect with your breath. Be willing to say no to a deal. And let that person have respect for you. And you, more importantly, have respect for yourself. That you're not just giving something away to make a deal happen. And this isn't just in sales, my friends. This is in every relationship. Because once you begin to compromise on different and deeper levels with your own personal soul, it's hard to get out from underneath that. And then you're setting the tone for the person that comes behind you or around you, beside you, or in the near future that's going to walk into that tone. So step into your boundaries. Connect with that breath. Learn what it is that's really important about your energetics in this moment. And are you leaving love or are you leaving stink? Are you leaving hardness and harm around you by doing what it is that you're doing? So maybe you can get a step ahead or whatever that is, whatever that's feeding in you. Quality versus quantity has been my number one rule. Quality versus quantity. I'd rather have a few really qualified friends or business people than a whole lot of quantity with a mixed match of whatever. That goes for my clothes, that goes for my life, that goes for a lot of things. Quality versus quantity. And my soul is the number one thing that I keep in the highest integrity of quality. And that's that dialogue from all the fragments of me, knowing I didn't sell a piece of that or let a piece get clipped or filed in order for something to work. And if I did, I was going to have to accept that and maybe be different the next time. So we're all learning our lessons here. Okay? Please like, subscribe, and share. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you on the next video. Bye.